Welcome to Classified Captures.
Steve here, and today's lineup is absolutely wild. We got everything from evidence of robots taking over civilization to rare sightings of cryptids like the elusive skunk ape showing up on residential properties. Ready to have your mind blown? Well, let's dive in.
Turning to the new report now from the Pentagon about unidentified flying objects. There were hundreds of new reported sightings over the last year, and some the government still can't explain.
Apart from the rumors that the government is desperately trying to hide the existence of aliens and failing miserably at it, there's also the belief that they're going to great lengths to cover up the truth about cryptids, especially Bigfoot. Let's take a look at this footage, which was supposedly leaked from a military helicopter. It shows a bird's eye view of a dense forest, and right below, you can see a massive bipedal creature, Bigfoot, walking through the trees. The creature is moving quickly, almost as if it knows it's being watched. It even glances up a few times as if checking to see whether the helicopter was still following it. Now, while we don't know exactly where this was filmed, what makes this footage stand out is how realistic the movement looks. Just watch the way it walks, the long arms swinging at its sides, the strides, the way its body moves through the terrain. It doesn't look like a person in a costume. Years ago, there was another leaked military video supposedly taken after the eruption of Mount Shasta. In that footage, military personnel were also allegedly seen hauling what appeared to be Bigfoot bodies using helicopters. If any of these clips are to be believed, you gotta ask why the government is so determined to keep Bigfoot and potentially other cryptids a secret. Could it be that there's something even bigger they do not want us to know? A company by the name Engine AI has created a police robot in China known as PM01, and this has got people talking. Some are even calling it the Chinese Robocops, and looking at it, I can see why they think that. This advanced security robot stands at 4.5 feet tall and weighs around 90 pounds. What makes it even more impressive is its human-like movements, including the ability to do flips, a level of agility that's rare for robots. These AI-powered machines have already been deployed in law enforcement and security duties, assisting in patrols and surveillance operations. Robotics technology continues to advance at an alarming rate, with AI improving every single day. These machines are becoming more intelligent, efficient, and capable of performing tasks that once required human officers. But this raises an important question. Will there come a day when the streets are filled with these robots instead of human police officers? While many see this as an advancement in safety and efficiency, others worry about the lack of human judgment, emotion, and ethical decision-making in law enforcement. And even more concerning, what happens if AI policing systems are hacked, manipulated, or malfunctioned? Your guess is as good as mine. After I wrote this great reaction to the clip, Julia suddenly popped out of nowhere and shouted AI, as in the whole thing is AI generated and not real. Can any of you eagle-eyed, detail-oriented folks confirm if he's right? Honestly, I think the government is always hiding things from us, and sometimes people who look too closely might just catch a glimpse of the truth slipping through the cracks. A man was on a plane flying over the desert when he noticed something strange below. In the middle of nowhere was a town sitting right in the desert, isolated from civilization. Confused by the whole thing, he recorded the footage and shared it online, and that's when people really started to freak out. People were convinced that this was a classified government facility or an underground base disguised as a ghost town. But one commenter pointed out that this wasn't a secret town, it was a desert training center. Back in 1942, during World War II, the US built military training camps in remote desert areas to prepare soldiers for combat in harsh environments. At that time, this particular site was one of the largest training centers in the world, capable of housing over 200,000 soldiers. Today, only a small part of it is still used for military training while the rest has been abandoned. At least, that's the official story. But let's just hope that's really the truth and that this place isn't used for some secret project we're not supposed to know about. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that when the government keeps something hidden, there's usually a reason, and that reason is typically not good.
Cell phone radiation can damage brain cells.
Smartphones have become essential tools for navigating modern life. Almost everyone has one, and even young children who are just learning to read often have their own devices, or at the very least access to one. While smartphones, especially iPhones, are praised for their convenience, they have also been linked to potential health risks, raising concerns amongst researchers and tech experts. One of the biggest concerns is RF, radio frequency radiation exposure. iPhones, like most smartphones, emit RF radiation, which has led to safety notices advising users to keep their phones at least 5 millimeters away from their skin. This warning is meant to help minimize exposure to potentially harmful radiation. Apple even encourages users to use hands-free options like Bluetooth earpieces or speakerphones when making calls. However, most people completely ignore these warnings. They hold their phones directly against their ears, keeping them in their pockets and carrying them in their hands for hours, even days, increasing their exposure to RF radiation without even realizing it. As if that weren't enough, a French tech agency conducted tests on the iPhone 12 and discovered that it emits more radiation than the legal safety limit. This revelation sparked a major controversy, with many calling for a mass recall of the iPhone 12 due to health risks.
Watchdog is ordering Apple to withdraw the iPhone 12 from the market.
After back-and-forth negotiations, Apple ultimately avoided a full recall by rolling out the software update that was designed to reduce RF emissions. While this seemed to satisfy regulators, it left many wondering. Why did it take independent testing to uncover this issue? And how many other smartphones might also be emitting excessive radiation? While the long-term effects of smartphone radiation are still being debated, this situation serves as a wake-up call. As technology advances, it's important to stay informed and take precautionary measures like using speakerphones or carrying phones away from the body until we fully understand the potential risks.
I've been hearing voices, and I'm not sure if it's real or not. Oh my.
I don't know what people expect when they walk into abandoned buildings. I keep saying this. Places are abandoned for a reason, so always expect the worst. A man decided to explore an abandoned prison in Nashville and was filming his experience as he walked through the dark, decaying halls. At first, it was just the usual eerie silence, but then he started hearing strange noises coming from a specific part of the building. Curious, he followed the sounds and walked toward an open door, and that's when he saw it. The door began to slowly move on its own, and right there in the darkness of the room, he saw this pair of glowing eyes staring directly at him. He initially didn't spot the eyes as he walked toward the door, but the moment he saw it, he didn't waste a single second. He ran out of the place as fast as he could. Now, considering the history of the prison, it's not exactly a peaceful place, and the kind of people who lived and died there, not good either. So is it possible that he saw an evil entity, or maybe even the restless spirit of an inmate still trapped inside those walls? Whatever it was, it clearly didn't expect to have visitors. A family was having a heartfelt moment in their living room, singing a hymn together while someone stood in the center recording the beautiful memory. Everyone seemed deeply immersed in the song, enjoying the warmth of the moment, completely unaware that the camera was about to capture something eerie. As the camera panned across the room, it briefly caught something disturbing. A dark, shadowy figure dashed across the doorway into another room. It moved so fast, almost like it had been caught doing something it wasn't supposed to do. The shape was vaguely human, except that it was completely black. No one in the family saw it in real time, and neither the person recording nor anyone else in the room seemed to notice anything unusual at that moment. But when they rewatched the footage later, the figure became impossible to ignore. Now, the real question is, what was it? The family had never reported any paranormal activity before. No strange occurrences, no unexplained noises, and no eerie feelings in the house. So if this dark figure was truly something supernatural, how did it get there? And what did it want? It's hard to say. The popular opinion is that the family's worship session may have been upset the being or spirit that showed up. Some even went as far as to say that the holy worship was affecting the unholy being. This, of course, is pure speculation, but do you have a better explanation?
So I may never drink the tap water in my apartment again, because look what I found in my Brita filter. I'm utterly disgusted and almost threw up.
Do you drink tap water directly without any purification or filtration? Well, you might want to rethink that after hearing this. A man was at home filling a glass of water from his kitchen sink when he noticed something moving. On the transparent sink nozzle, he saw this tiny worm dancing in the water flow. If he hadn't noticed it, he would have swallowed it without even knowing, and he's not the only one. Someone else found a thick worm trapped inside their water filter, and it freaked them out. They had never noticed anything strange before, but I wondered how many times they had unknowingly consumed contaminated water. Another person reported something just as horrifying. After finishing a bottle of water, they looked inside only to find a worm sitting at the bottom. Imagine realizing that after drinking the entire thing. Here's the reality. Even though tap water is tested and labeled as safe, it's not purified in the way bottled or filtered water is. In many cases, it comes straight from underground sources with little to no treatment before reaching your home. That means anything from microscopic bacteria to tiny parasites could be in the water. So before you take another sip straight from the tap, you might want to consider filtering or boiling your water first, because once you see what's really in it, you just can't unsee it. A family in Brazil who lives near the woods had set up a trail camera all over their properties to monitor the area. They never expected to capture something this strange. One night, a creature emerged from the darkness and started sniffing around their car before quickly retreating. At first, they thought it was just a stray dog, but then they looked closer at its facial features and they realized this was no ordinary animal. It looked more humanoid than canine, with long black hair covering its body, but with dog-like ears on top of its head, and its movements were swift and calculated as if it was scouting the area. Most people who saw the footage immediately said this could be the infamous dogman. Considering that Brazil has its own dogman legends, many believe this might be real evidence of the creature. Personally, I would have preferred clearer footage to give my opinion, but this is all we have. What do you guys think? A man was driving through the Navajo reservation when he noticed something strange on the side of the mountain. It was a perfectly circular crater embedded into the rocky surface. It looked too precise to be natural, which made it both fascinating and suspicious at the same time. Many members of the paranormal community believe this could be a landing mark left by a UFO, possibly from an unidentified craft that touched down on the mountain. However, without any physical evidence, this theory remains just speculation. On the other hand, a skeptical commenter had a different take, suggesting that this mysterious formation could simply be a sinkhole. But that raises another question. How does a sinkhole form on the side of a mountain? Typically, sinkholes appear on flat ground due to the collapse of underground caverns, usually caused by erosion, water flow, or structural weaknesses in the rock. But for one to form on the side of a mountain, well, that's far less common. Next, we got this woman who had booked a remote cabin for a getaway. And while she was there, she noticed another run-down cabin nearby. It looked abandoned, and since no one seemed to be inside, she decided to take a quick look. She pulled out her phone and started filming as she walked up the rotten wooden stairs. The place looked like it had been untouched for years. The paint was peeling, and inside the cabin was old furniture, scattered clothes, and an ancient TV. She stood in the doorway, just talking about how eerie the room looked when this happened. A loud, blood-curdling scream echoed from inside the cabin.
No tiene luz. Hay como una mesa, hay ganchitos de ropa y televisor.
The sound was so terrifying that she screamed too and bolted back to the safety of her cabin. But here's where things get even creepier. Later, when she watched her video, she noticed something she hadn't seen at the time. Right before she climbed the stairs, a pale face with long hair had been peeking down at her from behind a slightly open door. It was there for just a second before it vanished back inside. She had no idea she'd been watched the entire time. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, something even stranger happened after she got home. While filming a recap video in her room, she sat with her back against the wall next to a window. And once again, when reviewing the footage, viewers pointed out something she never noticed. Through the window, that same pale face with glowing eyes was staring directly at her. It watched her for a while, completely unnoticed, until it suddenly moved away. Now, some people believe that whatever was at that abandoned cabin had followed her home. But not everyone is convinced. Skeptics argue that this could all be staged. In fact, some did share links to other pages with similar videos emphasizing their point that this was nothing more than an attempt to go viral. What do you think?
No tiene luz. Hay como una mesa, hay ganchitos de ropa y televisor.
A couple had gone on a late-night drive and decided to pull over on the side of the road for some quiet time together. But as they sat there, enjoying the moment, something in the darkness of the forest caught their attention. Through the trees, they saw a pair of glowing eyes staring directly at them. The eyes were intense, reflecting the car's headlights in an eerie way. The creature appeared to have pointed ears, and though its body was mostly obscured by the shadows, they could tell it was four-legged. Now, while the paranormal community did jump to the conclusion that this is a cryptid, others believe it's simply a cougar or a bobcat, both of which are known to roam the area. Big cats have highly reflective eyes, which could explain the unsettling glow. But the couple insists that there was something off about the encounter. The way the creature just stood there unblinking, watching them without moving, gave them an unnerving feeling like it was more than just a wild animal. You've seen the clip, so what do you think? Have you ever wondered why we never seem to get clear footage of Bigfoot even in today's technologically advanced world? There are tons of crisp, high-quality trail cam images of wild animals roaming the forests, but when it comes to Bigfoot, all we ever get are grainy, blurry, or distorted images. Take a look at these Bigfoot photographs. Some are a bit clearer, but most are still low quality. Yet they all share the same distinct features found in nearly every Bigfoot sighting. Now, some believe this is exactly why Bigfoot is never officially acknowledged as a real species, because if they were, it might create problems for certain groups. Others have an even wilder theory that Bigfoot isn't just another undiscovered primate, but rather an interdimensional being capable of distorting camera footage whenever it's captured. Could that explain why so many images turn out unclear, or is it just pure coincidence? Either way, the fact that we still don't have a single high-quality image of Bigfoot is pretty suspicious. Next, we have another video that once again teaches us the importance of doing some research before purchasing a house. A woman had bought an old building and decided to visit the property to take a closer look. But as she sat in the car, something caught her eye inside the house. She thought she saw movement in one of the upper windows, so she took out her phone and began recording from a car. And that's when she caught it. A dark, shadowy figure moving inside the building, right in the left window on the top floor. As soon as she saw this, she panicked. But what she captured next in a rearview mirror made things even stranger. In the reflection, there appeared to be smoke rising from the building, but when she turned back to look with her own eyes, there was nothing there. No sign of a fire, no visible sources of the smoke. The property itself is said to be a very old abandoned building, so was she seeing a spirit or some kind of paranormal entity, or could it have simply been a squatter inside and the smoke just some kind of natural illusion?
Oh my God, what the
Since COVID-19, humidifier use has become more common, often promoted as a way to maintain healthy humidity levels and improve breathing. However, what many don't realize is that humidifiers can actually worsen air quality if not properly maintained. If not cleaned regularly, humidifiers can harbor bacteria, mold, and other microorganisms. The warm, moist environment inside the device creates an ideal breeding ground for germs. When contaminated water is turned into mist, these harmful particles can spread through the air, potentially causing respiratory issues, allergies, or even lung infections. But that's not the only concern. Many humidifiers, especially cheaper models, are made from low-quality plastic that can degrade over time, releasing plasticizers and other chemicals into the air. These compounds, including phthalates and bisophenols, have been linked to hormone disruption and other health issues. When heated or exposed to moisture, these plastics can leach harmful substances, further reducing indoor air quality. Many people also neglect to clean their humidifiers frequently, allowing bacteria, mold, and chemical residues to accumulate. Instead of improving air quality, a dirty or poorly made humidifier might make it worse. If you still want a humidifier after learning this, then you are better off buying the high-quality BPA-free models. Even then, you must still clean them regularly. And just like that, we're back to unclear clips. This piece of footage was shared by a fisherman who was fishing in the Florida Keys when he saw something strange swim past his boat. Beneath the surface, he spotted a pale, bluish figure moving gracefully through the water. The shape was exactly what you'd expect from a mermaid, a fishtail and a humanoid upper body. The creature swam right past the boat, and the fisherman captured a few seconds of footage before it disappeared. While the video is unclear, you can still make out its shape. Some believe this could be one of the most compelling mermaid sightings, yet skeptics argue that it could just be a hoax. But looking at the footage, what do you think?
Oh my God, look up in the sky!
Whoa!
I don't see it. I'm on the front porch. Okay, look towards
Oh
us.
my God, that is strange.
A couple spotted something strange in the sky. It was these two red rings. One ring was significantly larger than the other, creating a supernatural sight. Some viewers speculated that this could be a rare atmospheric phenomenon, while others suggested it might be a red worm lunar moon, also known as a bloodworm moon. The term blood moon is commonly used to describe a total lunar eclipse, during which the moon takes on a reddish hue due to the way the Earth's atmosphere scatters sunlight. However, the double-ringed formation seen in this footage is highly unusual and doesn't match the typical appearance of a lunar eclipse. Some skeptics believe it could be light reflections or a man-made projection, while others in the paranormal community think it might be a portal or an unidentified aerial event. What do you think it is?
Oh my God, look up in the sky!
Whoa.
I don't see it. I'm on the front porch.
Have you ever seen those viral videos of glass bridges in China some people confidently walk across, while others have a total meltdown the moment they step on it? Honestly, it's terrifying. These bridges are often built nearly 1,000 feet above the ground, so you can imagine the fear and the danger if anything were to go wrong. Designed for thrill seekers, the first major glass bridge attracted an overwhelming 80,000 visitors in a single day, despite being intended for only 8,000 per day. And as we've seen in those videos, not everyone enjoys the thrill. You'd think something this high up would have extra safety measures, right? Well, while these bridges are designed with multiple layers of reinforced glass, there have been concerning incidents. In one case, extreme wind pressure shattered glass panels on a bridge in China, leaving a terrified tourist clinging to the railing until rescue teams arrived. The victim was reportedly traumatized and had to be rushed to the hospital for psychological care. There have also been cases of people slipping, though falling over the site is rare due to safety barriers. Still, the idea of walking on glass at such heights is enough to make most people think twice.
So would you dare to cross one, or have you already tried it? Personally, not this guy.
Aliens are described in many different ways depending on various accounts. The most popular depiction is the gray alien, which is what most of us are familiar with. Pale-skinned creatures with large heads, huge black eyes, slender bodies, and long limbs. But some people also describe them as luminous beings, glowing entities that seem almost ethereal. One eyewitness was at the beach when he noticed strange glowing lights from a distance coming from the other side of the water. At first, it seemed like nothing unusual, but when he zoomed in, then he realized that these were not ordinary lights. The glowing figures looked humanoid, almost as if they were standing on the water's surface. And as he focused on one particular figure in the water, another one appeared right beside it, materializing out of nowhere. This location is already rumored to be near an alien base, and with this sighting caught on camera, many believe this could be actual extraterrestrial beings. Have you ever had a ghost encounter that just felt so real? This video was shared by a security officer who had what seemed like a very real paranormal experience. He was working the night shift, monitoring the halls of a closed retail store, when the woman in the control room noticed something strange on the security cameras. The footage showed the guard standing in the hallway, but he wasn't just standing there, he was having a full-on conversation, except there was no one there. Confused and a bit concerned, the woman radioed him over the walkie-talkie, asking who he was talking to. He casually explained that he was speaking to a woman named Miss Abigail who was trying to get into the store. Since the store was closed, he'd simply told her to come back the next day. But here's the terrifying part. Miss Abigail was a real customer, except she had passed away 2 years ago. When the woman in the control room told him this, you could see the fear hit him immediately. Within seconds, he ran out of there. This man truly believed he was talking to someone real, but the cameras told a different story.
Miss Abigail she died 2 years ago.
You mean you can't see the person I'm talking to?
No, there's nobody in front of you at all.
Now, let's talk about parasites. Every living thing can have parasites in its body, and as their name suggests, they need a host to survive. But what about humans? How do we get these organisms into our system? There are many ways, but one of the most common is through the foods that we eat. If you love sushi and sashimi, well, this might be hard to hear, but eating raw fish that isn't properly handled or preserved can easily expose you to parasites. Another major culprit is pork. For all the pork lovers out there, make sure your meat is well cooked, because undercooked pork can also lead to breeding grounds for parasites. And trust me, you don't want parasites living inside you. They can cause serious health issues if left unchecked. So consider this a reminder: if you haven't done a parasite cleanse, it might be time to deworm yourself. And please be extra careful with that sushi. The Greeks have some of the most fascinating legends, especially when it comes to their gods, but beyond that, there are also tales of mystical creatures lurking in the Ionian Sea, including stories of a sea monster that supposedly haunts the waters near Corfu. Recently, 2 images surfaced supposedly showing evidence of a massive sea creature. The first image showed a strange spiky-backed creature on the water's surface. Many quickly claimed it was a sea monster. The second image captured what looked like a huge creature emerging from the sea, rumored to be another unknown marine beast spotted by a boater in the Ionian waters. But both images were debunked. The first so-called sea monster turned out to be a dolphin with a severe back injury, and the second creature wasn't even a living thing. It was a piece of a boat that had fallen into the water. So while the Greek gods and mythical creatures make for great stories, it looks like this time Poseidon didn't send any real monsters our way. Two security guards were on a night shift when they noticed something strange across the street. They'd seen a woman walking on the sidewalk, but as she reached the tree nearby, she vanished into thin air. Curious and a bit uneasy, one of the guards decided to cross the road and check the area while the other stayed behind and filmed. At first, they didn't see anything unusual, but just as the first guard returned from checking, the figure appeared again. This time, it was the woman who they had seen before, but not exactly a woman. It was a small, child-sized dark figure walking along the wall. A car passed by, momentarily blocking their view, but when the headlights shone on the area, they realized this wasn't just a shadow. It looked human, yet something about it was off. The figure had long, thick black hair that cascaded all the way to the ground, covering its body like a cloak. The security guards were completely shaken. They'd never seen anything like this before. Some believe it could have been a duende, others think it was a spirit. But what exactly, we cannot tell. What do you think this is?
¿Qué pasó, güey? Oh, güey, mira. Ahí va saliendo. What the f***? Mira. What the hell?
That is, I don't know if you can hear it, that is a cop drone. So they're actively looking for somebody. It followed the neighbor up the stairs. Okay, cops everywhere.
Are we getting closer to a dystopian future, or are we already living in one? This footage was captured by a woman who lives in an apartment complex, and according to her, drones were flying all over the building. One of them seemed to be following one of her neighbors, hovering right outside the window, scanning the area. It was clear that something was going on. Then suddenly, gunshots rang out in the distance. The police were actively searching for someone, and the drone was doing its job, tracking movements with unsettling precision. If it wasn't already obvious, drone technology is now being used by law enforcement and security forces to track criminals faster, monitor crowds, and even control riots. This method, known as crime suppression, is meant to increase efficiency, but it also raises some serious privacy concerns. Are we witnessing the future of law enforcement?
That is, I don't know if you can hear it, that is a cop drone. So they're actively looking for somebody. It followed the neighbor up the stairs. Okay, cops everywhere. This is what a driver caught on camera while speeding through a forest in Hertfordshire.
a humanoid figure wearing a white dress keeping pace with his car. At first he thought it was just his mind playing tricks on him, but as he focused on the figure, it moved unnaturally fast among the trees, effortlessly matching his speed. The way it glided rather than ran made this clear this couldn't be a normal person. The Eerie encounter has sparked much speculation. Some believe it could be a ghostly apparition, possibly a spirit trapped in the forest, or a residual haunt. Others suggest it might be a paranormal entity, such as a wraith or a forest-dwelling cryptid. Skeptics argue that it could be a visual distortion caused by motion blur, making it seem like the figure was moving faster than it actually was. But if it was just a person, how could they move that fast through a dense forest without tripping or slowing down? NASA frequently shares images of Mars, capturing its rocky, barren terrain. But every time they do, people seem to spot something unusual that could suggest life beyond Earth. Take this image from 2022, for example. At first glance, it just looks like a typical Martian landscape, dry, rocky, and lifeless. But look closely. Among the scattered rocks, there's a Tik Tok shaped object, and it even has a shadow beneath it. Most people who saw this immediately called it a UFO, arguing that the shape and the way it casts a shadow suggests it's hovering above the surface. But NASA dismissed it entirely, saying it was just another rock formation on the terrain. Still, something about this one feels different. It doesn't quite match the surroundings, and that shadow makes it more suspicious. Could this be actual proof of extraterrestrial activity on Mars, or are people just reading too much meaning into it? Personally, I feel this might be an exaggeration.
But hey, what do I know? I haven't been to Mars now, have I?
Next, we have an image that was supposedly leaked from 4chan, showing what some claim to be a crashed UAP in Mexico. The photo captures a strange vehicle lying in some bushes, its glass windshield shattered. The wreckage looks mysterious, and from this angle you can't fully make out its shape. Some believe this is an actual unidentified aerial phenomenon that crash-landed. Others, however, aren't so convinced, pointing out that some parts of the wreckage look suspiciously like a Honda Civic. I refused to show this to Julius because I wasn't ready for any judgmental eyes. Personally, I see more broken fiberglass or carbon fiber than I do an alien ship, but like I said, what do I know? In the Catholic religion, statues of saints have been made for centuries and are commonly found in homes, churches, and places of worship. Catholics are known for having many religious artifacts, as these objects are believed to be holy, used for prayer, and even offer protection against evil spirits. But what happens when a holy object gives off a different kind of energy? A dog owner had a statue of a saint placed on his desk, but things took a strange turn when his dog started acting weird around it. The dog cautiously approached the statue, sniffing around it suspiciously, and then suddenly backed away and began barking aggressively. Since animals are believed to be more sensitive to spiritual energies, the homeowner began to wonder if the dog had picked up on something unusual about the statue, something that wasn't necessarily good. These statues are meant to ward off evil, but judging by the dog's reaction, it seemed to sense something far more unsettling. This led people to wonder if the statue was cursed. I mean, it's not impossible for this to be fake. Sure, it looks like a holy saint, but what if it wasn't created with pure intentions? What if something sinister was attached to it instead? Think about that.
What the hell is that? Get your 45 out. It's right over there. See it? Holy.
I know that most of the time when we hear about strange sounds coming from the woods, we never actually see what's making the noise. And because of that, a lot of people tend to write it off as edited footage or just assume it's the sounds of animals that have been distorted by the forest's acoustics. But that doesn't mean there isn't something unknown crying out in our wilderness. A man had gone into the woods near a flowing stream when he began to suddenly hear something eerie coming from the other side of the forest. This happened in Mikado, Michigan, and the sound was like a strange echoing shriek that seemed to bounce off the trees. He panned the camera around, and there was no sign of any animal or person nearby, just the unsettling noise filling the air. Most skeptics say this was likely a bobcat, as they're known to make high-pitched, almost human-like screams. But something about this particular sound didn't sit right with a lot of people. One commenter even suggested that this could be a mimic. If you're new here, that's a supernatural entity that imitates voices or cries to lure people deeper into the woods. There's no evidence that this is a paranormal entity at work, but then there's no evidence to show it's not. Anyway, you've heard the sound yourself, so what do you think?
What the hell is that? Get your 45 out. It's right over there. See it? Holy.
Have you ever heard of the Yellock Bigfoot photograph? It was captured by a couple, Jeff and Teresa Yellock, who are known as Sasquatch investigators. The couple has spent years researching Bigfoot hotspots, filming strange tree formations, and collecting evidence of possible Sasquatch activity in the area. They're extremely passionate about the cryptid, and this particular photograph has become one of their most well-known pieces of evidence. The image shows a forest landscape with trees and branches scattered around. But when you zoom in behind the trees, you can spot a large figure peeking through the gaps, classic Bigfoot behavior. These creatures are often said to observe from a distance, staying hidden while keeping an eye on people. So what do you think of this image? A man went exploring a cemetery and stumbled upon something deeply unsettling. There was an old abandoned building on the grounds, and at one point he thought he saw something inside. But when he checked, there was no one there. As he continued exploring, he suddenly noticed something unusual. Sitting on a concrete bench was an elderly woman. She sat completely still and silent, gazing up at the sky. The man called out to her, but she didn't respond. Instead, she slowly turned her head, looking directly at him for a few seconds, and then turned back to the sky. At that moment, a wave of dread washed over the man. This was a cemetery, isolated and abandoned, and it was the dead of night. What was an elderly woman doing there alone, and more importantly, was she even human? Too terrified to approach, the man quickly left, but the eerie encounter haunted him, leaving him to wonder, had he just seen a ghost?
Hello? Ma'am? Do you need help? Do you need help? Yeah. Not doing that.
A family had just moved into a new home, excited to start fresh, but on their very first night, something unsettling happened. The mother had been lying in bed when she heard a strange noise coming from her child's room. Feeling uneasy, she checked the baby monitor, and what she saw sent chills down her spine. Her child was wide awake at 2 a.m., lying in bed, except for one thing. The child was staring into the corner of the room, a haunting smile on her face. She didn't move, didn't blink, just kept gazing at something unseen. At that moment, the mother felt a chill of dread. Her worst fears seemed to be coming true. Here's the thing. Before they moved in, during renovations, they had found some disturbing objects in the basement, things that looked like they had been used for witchcraft or some kind of ritual. At the time, she'd hesitated to buy the house because of that, but her husband brushed it off, saying it was nothing to worry about. But now, watching her child smile at something invisible in the dark, she couldn't shake the feeling that those strange objects in the basement might be connected to this terrifying experience. Bigfoot isn't the only primate cryptid out there. There are others that have been talked about for years, and one of the most well-known is the skunk ape. A woman in Florida was taking a breather in a backyard one night when she suddenly noticed something moving behind the plants. She quickly snapped a few pictures, but at the time, she thought nothing of it, assuming it was just an orangutan that had somehow wandered into a property. She brushed it off and continued enjoying her night. Not sure why though, because Florida doesn't have any wild orangutans. A few days later, while showing the photographs to friends, they noticed something strange. This thing didn't look like an orangutan at all. The face was different, not quite what you'd expect from an orangutan, a gorilla, or any known primate. So she decided to share the images online, and that's when the paranormal community took notice. Some people suggested it could be dogman, but something about this creature screamed primate rather than canine. The majority of people came to one conclusion: this could be a skunk ape. They're similar to Bigfoot but smaller. Skunk apes are said to dwell in swampy areas and are notorious for their strong foul odor, hence the name. So looking at these images, what do you think the woman really captured?
In Miami, people have been spotting these strange objects in the sky, and our next clip captures one of those situations. It looks like some sort of tank. I'm not very sure of what it is. Some say they might be surveillance balloons, perhaps part of a monitoring or security initiative, but others think it's alien-related. After some personal research, I'm convinced it's nothing more than a blimp. Julius adds that this particular one could have been designed by Goodyear. Is anyone from Miami out there to confirm this for us? Dive into the realm of the uncanny with this peculiar moment caught on camera. A man was sitting on a motorbike with his back turned to the camera when all of a sudden you see him getting off the bike to sit properly on it. But wasn't he already sitting on the bike? A closer look and you'd realize there was something strange about the way he was sitting. So how did he ride the bike if he was seated like that? Well, no one knows, and it's left many to speculate. Some even think the whole thing is nothing but a glitch in the Matrix. You've seen it, right? What's your take on this surreal scene?
A Reddit user recently shared an intriguing image on the platform. The user had bought some blueberries and was enjoying them when she noticed a strange marking on one of the berries. Upon closer inspection, she realized that the marking was a set of numbers, well written and too small to be written by hand. What's more, the numbers seem to be made by a machine, which is unusual as food items are not typically marked with serial numbers. As the image went viral, many people started offering explanations for the strange marking on the berry. Most of the commenters suggested that the berry was attached to the packaging when the company was laser printing on it. His explanation seemed plausible, as laser printing is a common way of marking products with serial numbers. However, some people still wondered if there was something more sinister going on. Such individuals suspected the government might be messing with our foods and changing our bodies. It's possible that the marking on the berry was simply a result of the laser printing process, as many suggested. However, it's also possible that this was a deliberate act and that someone intentionally marked the berry with a serial number. But why? Well, we don't know. That's the mystery. Your thoughts on this are welcome. On the night of April the 4th, 2024, a surveillance camera in Idaho captured an unusual sight in someone's backyard. The footage shows a craft flying over the property which appeared to have 6 vertical lights. Although the camera quality is not great due to the darkness, the lights are clearly visible. The rest of the craft is difficult to make out, leaving the shape and size a mystery. The owner of the footage is convinced that it was a UFO, given the current hype around UFO sightings on the internet. However, it's difficult to say for sure what it is without further evidence or analysis.
It's possible that it could have been a normal aircraft, but the unusual light formation suggests otherwise. What do you think? There's a reason demolitions are done by trained professionals, and our next clip demonstrates that fact exceptionally. Did you see that? First of all, being that close to the structure in this state was risky. Secondly, to bring it down while standing so close to it was also risky. He's very, very lucky to have escaped with no scratch. Whatever you do, never do what this guy did in the clip. You have friends and family that care about you too much for your life to be snuffed out by something like this. Next, we got a homeowner who, after purchasing a house, was doing a second thorough check and came across something disturbing. There was a dent in the roof, and as she looked through, she saw this. Between the cracks, there was a grotesque face staring back at her. It didn't look human at all, and it left her unsettled and quite frankly disturbed. What is this thing living there? Also, she had already bought the house at this point, leaving her with no option but to deal with the unsettling discovery. Imagine the shock of finding such a creature hidden in your home. What could it be? A wild animal? A strange entity? Or something else entirely? What would you do if you found something like this in your home? Have you heard about this? San Francisco has opened its first $5.5 million free food market. This innovative facility allows eligible residents to use a benefits card to select items, check out to track inventory, and leave without paying. Located in Bayview Hunters Point, this market aims to provide a dignified alternative to traditional food pantries by replicating the supermarket experience. In an area where many grocery stores have struggled to remain open due to high crime rates, this free food market is a game changer. It ensures that residents have access to fresh, healthy food in a setting that respects their autonomy and dignity. The facility is designed to meet the community's needs while maintaining an organized and efficient system for inventory tracking. This initiative not only addresses food insecurity, but also fosters a sense of normalcy and respect for those in need. It represents a forward-thinking approach to community support and could serve as a model for other cities facing similar challenges. What are your thoughts on this innovative approach to combating food insecurity? Do you think it's great, or do you think that there could be a better approach? Let us know in the comments section. I believe this creature right here is the closest we can get to a real-life fairy tale. It's a mesmerizing pink being that looks strikingly like a delicate flower. Someone stumbled upon it and, enchanted by its floral appearance, picked it up only to discover they were holding a living insect. The creature is so magical and otherworldly you'd think it was fake, but it's very much real. This enchanting marvel is called the orchid mantis. With its petal-like limbs and vibrant coloration, it perfectly mimics an orchid blossom, making it both a master of disguise and a wonder of nature. Its ethereal beauty and almost fantastical appearance make it a true marvel, bridging the gap between the mythical and the real. Such a beauty.
Then the ice starts to go from smooth to starting to break up here.
Like, where are we right now? What planet is this? Just take a photo picture. I like how that Earth is meeting the glacier. See that interesting shape?
Oh wow, yeah. Making? Just mesmerized. I've never seen terrain like this.
It's so insane, isn't it? How? Because this is right at the edge of it.
These two guys shared a video of themselves allegedly flying over the forbidden icy walls of Antarctica. Take a look. It's just ice as far as the eye can see, stretching out endlessly beneath them. But as captivating as it seems, most viewers aren't buying it. The skeptics were quick to weigh in. One commenter said, "Although I'd like to see Antarctica from this view, I'm pretty sure these guys are in Alaska." Another added, "This is not behind the ice wall, lol. This looks very much like the Alletschlechte in Switzerland." But here's the twist. Some believers argue that this skepticism is exactly what they want. By discrediting videos like this, they say the truth stays hidden in plain sight. Could it be that these guys are onto something, or is it just another case of mistaken geography? So what do you think? Also, did I say the name of the place in Switzerland right? Because to me it sounded like complete gobbledygook. Maybe someone can give me a pronunciation in the comments section.
Then the ice starts to go from smooth to starting to break up here.
Like, where are we right now? What planet is this? Just take a photo picture.
If you thought that was bizarre, then nothing can prepare you for what's coming. Take a look. Yes, I know that's eerie looking, but that's actually a delicacy enjoyed by many Indonesians. I was worried and thought that this could lead to some disease or worse, death. I decided to do some research, and you wouldn't believe what I saw. No, people aren't turning into aliens, and neither are they going to become zombies by eating this. What you're seeing on your screen is called Timberlook, scientifically known as Bactinophorus thoracites. Timberlook is a unique wood-boring mollusk often found in the brackish waters of Indonesia. Despite its worm-like appearance, Timberlook is actually a type of mollusk that inhabits and feeds on rotten wood or tree trunks submerged in water. This creature has a significant ecological role, but it's also infamous for being a pest to wooden structures like boats and piers. Locally, Timberlook is valued not just for its ecological role, but also as a traditional food source. It's often consumed raw or cooked in various dishes, offering a unique, chewy texture and a flavor reminiscent of clams. Nutritionally, Timberlook is a powerhouse, packed with proteins, essential amino acids, omega-3 fatty acids, and various vitamins and minerals. These nutritional benefits contribute to its reputation as a health-boosting food, traditionally believed to aid in conditions like depression, heart health, and even as a remedy for malaria in Papua. It's also thought to boost stamina and serve as a natural dietary supplement. So while it might not look like it, it turns out that this is actually really good for you. One question remains, though. Would you eat it? The beauty of nature in its diversity, and the good news is that humans have the diversity too. I mean, we're part of nature, so we can't really dispute that. This is manifested in humans, with some having unique or unusual body parts. Look at this man. He has a bald head, and he pulls all the skin on his head from both sides into the center, creating a vertical line of raised skin. This isn't a magic trick or an illusion. This man has a rare condition called cutis verticis gyrata. Cutis verticis gyrata causes the skin on the scalp to form folds and furrows resembling the ridges of the brain. It's a fascinating yet uncommon condition, and seeing it in action is quite striking. This condition can be congenital or acquired, and while it doesn't usually cause pain, it can lead to hygiene issues if not properly managed. Despite its unusual appearance, cutis verticis gyrata is just another reminder of the incredible diversity of the human body. Fascinating, don't you agree? We all know that the king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away in 2009. However, there have been rumors that he might not actually be dead and that his death was a lie. Take a look at this footage. The ambulance that was supposed to have taken his body wrapped in a white sheet on a stretcher was secretly filmed by a fan at another building. Instead of wheeling out a body, the man is seen guiding a smaller person out of the van and in the building. And that's not all. After his death, a man named Dave appeared on TV, and his voice sounded eerily similar to Michael Jackson's. Take a listen.
And there were all these Paul McCartney records all over this, The Girl Is Mine, and, this and that. 13 solo albums, solo appearances on TV shows. And there were all these Paul McCartney records. But of course, you always feel things out.
Hear that? Yeah, very similar. Michael Jackson was known for his exceptional skill in disguises because of how people would swarm him whenever he went out. He often wore elaborate disguises that were incredibly convincing. He was a master of disguise. So what do you think? Did Michael Jackson fake his own death to gain freedom, or is this theory too extreme to believe?
Begin to ends.
A man was driving at night when he noticed something alarming. Ahead of him, a small four-wheeled cycle was moving along the road. But it wasn't just cruising, it had something attached to the back that was spewing fire onto the side of the road, which bordered a forest. As the man continued to drive, you could clearly see a line of fire trailing behind the cycle, setting the base of the woods ablaze. The person on the cycle kept going, leaving a long, burning path in their wake. The sight was shocking, and the first thought that came to mind was arson. With so many forest fires occurring without any clear cause, this scene looked incredibly suspicious. One commenter, however, suggested a different explanation: a ditch burning. For those unfamiliar with it, ditch burning is a controlled method used to clear vegetation or debris, often on the sides of the road or fields. It's typically done to prevent larger, uncontrolled fires by eliminating potential fuel for wildfires. But even if that's the case, the way it was being done here at night, with fire spreading into the forest, seems reckless and dangerous. But what do you guys think? Is this a case of controlled ditch burning gone wrong, or is there something more sinister at play? I will be reading your comments. Recently, a group of people on a boat ride in a river came across an alligator making its way toward them. The passengers began filming the scene because, well, why not? But as the alligator got closer, the situation became increasingly tense. They noticed he was out for blood. Without warning, the alligator leapt out of the water, clearly attempting to get into the boat or at least grab one of the passengers. Naturally, the passengers were taken aback and quickly backed away as the reptile landed on the side of the boat and then fell off. Alligators are massive in size, with an average length of 13 feet and can weigh up to 1,000 pounds. However, they're also known to be dangerous predators, capable of causing serious harm to humans and animals alike. Thankfully, no one was hurt. If you intend to visit a place with gators, let this be your cue to be extra safe out there. Take a moment to admire the sheer size and beauty of the Tibetan Mastiff, a truly magnificent breed of dog. With its thick, long, and luxurious brown fur, muscular build, and regal appearance, this breed is considered one of the largest dogs in the world. Originated from the lofty mountains of Tibet, these majestic canines have been bred for centuries to guard livestock and property and are known for their courage, loyalty, and independence. They're highly intelligent and have a strong protective instinct, making them excellent watchdogs. The Tibetan Mastiffs are calm and patient, but they can be stubborn at times. They require plenty of exercise and mental stimulation to stay healthy and happy. They're also known to be quite vocal and will bark loudly if they sense any potential threats. Despite their imposing size and appearance, the Tibetan Mastiff is a gentle and loving breed that thrives with human companionship. They're great with children and make loyal and protective family pets. Whether you're a dog lover or simply appreciate the beauty and majesty of nature's creatures, the Tibetan Mastiff is truly a sight to behold. Our next clip is one of many videos about people discovering fake plastic food items. This woman's example involves chicken. Take a look.
Does something look wrong here? Like, why is it like that? Look at it. And it's like, it feels like there's skin on it, but it's boneless and skinless.
Just look at the texture. It appears to have a plastic covering, and as she pokes it, it feels mushy inside. What is going on out there? What is happening to our food? Seeing something as fundamental as a chicken looking and feeling fake is unsettling. How can consumers ensure the food they're buying is real and safe to eat? The idea of fake food infiltrating our market is both alarming and infuriating. So far, however, we've had accounts of people online. Can any of you confirm if you have ever come across something like this, or at least personally know someone who has? We want to make sure this isn't propaganda, and quite frankly, we don't think it is. But we want to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Does something look wrong here? Like, why is it like that? Look at it.
This footage was taken in Mexico. Two men were outside when they noticed an odd-looking star. Out of nowhere, the star emitted a green laser beam that moved around and then vanished. Paranormal enthusiasts believe this could be evidence of alien activity. However, one commenter offered a different perspective that got me thinking. Fake. It's a hill where the green laser is being pointed by someone on the hill. Those laser pointers are sold at fairs. You've seen the clip as well. Do you think this could be the case here? Let us know in the comments section if you think this explanation makes sense or if you have another theory. We'll be reading. Growing up, I always heard some people being called lucky. But being the scientific mind I was in my childhood days, I just thought it was a matter of probability. If the childhood me could see this, he would change his mind. Yes, that's a man shaking uncontrollably, and it appears to be quite severe. At first glance, the reason behind this unusual behavior is unknown, but as the camera panned down, a broken piece of a hand grinder was revealed lying on the ground. As he turned the camera toward his face, we could see the reason behind his tremors. The disc of the hand grinder had become lodged in his cap just a few inches away from his head. This was a very close call, and the man's cap had saved him from what could have been a fatal accident. How's that possible? It's not supposed to be. It's quite remarkable how lucky he is to have escaped unscathed. It was clear from the video that the man was terrified and shaken by the incident, and understandably so. Could this be luck or something more? Share your thoughts. Would you go camping if you knew these guys would be your campmates? In the footage, a camper woke up one night to find a huge spider crawling on his tent on the outside. If you're an arachnophobe, I'm sure it will be hell for you. You can even see the highlights of other insects as well. Wait, did I just call a spider an insect? Spider-Man will be happy about that. Good thing he's not real. Can you guess where this particular camp is happening? Hint, it's a popular place with the world's most deadly creatures. Yes, you guessed right, Australia. Australia is known for its spiders, some of which can grow to enormous sizes. For instance, the huntsman spider, which is commonly found in Australian homes, can have a leg span of up to 30 centimeters, making it one of the largest spiders in the world. Thinking of it alone is making my stomach churn, but do tell me, what do you think of this camping expedition? Do or pass? Recently, Ryan Garcia has been sharing his views on various government conspiracies. In this footage, he makes a video while hospitalized with tubes up his nose. Take a look.
Come on now, the rapture is coming, Jesus is coming back, the aliens, they already have Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam is the fact that aliens are being slowly put out, okay? Project Bluebeam is this. Why do you think they slowly started putting out aliens since Roswell? Because you can't handle the truth right away. It would have caused a great mass delusion or whatever, right? Just everybody would be chaotic. So they do slowly, and it's for a reason, because it says in the Bible that there'll be a great delusion cast out on earth. What do you think that great delusion is? And you guys can pull up the verses.
In the video, Garcia discusses how the talk of aliens is propaganda designed to deceive us when the rapture happens. He claims that aliens are not otherworldly beings, but demons in disguise. Garcia's perspective is certainly provocative and has sparked a lot of debate. His stance is that these so-called extraterrestrial encounters are part of a larger deception to distract humanity from spiritual truths. Given his background as a professional boxer, it's intriguing to see him delve into such controversial topics. It's worth noting that Garcia's outspoken views cost him his standing in the boxing community, adding another layer to the discussion. What do you think on his take on these matters?
What do you think they're going to get tricked by? They're going to get tricked by that it was an alien abduction. Understand, this is happening in real time. You guys need to wake up. Who's involved? The people, the principalities, the powers that be, the ones that are setting it up, the ones that are releasing the footage. Listen to what I'm saying. It's happening. I told you guys about the rules of satanic worship. It needs to be in front of your face. Why do you think they put the stuff on Simpsons? Why do you think all the things are right in front of your face, but nobody is paying attention? They're like, there's no way that could be true.
If you've been watching our channel for the past few weeks, then you're aware of the fact that strange cloud formations have been spotted all around the world, and eerily, they look so similar to each other, even though each clip comes from a different place and time. One popular variation is clouds that are ring-shaped, with smoke like dust swirling around them. Many people believe these formations are cloaked UFOs, while others suggest they might be portals. On the other hand, skeptics argue that they're just natural cloud formations and nothing more. The striking similarity between these sightings raises questions. How can these clouds appearing in such different locations look almost identical? Could there be a connection, or is it just a coincidence? Are they a sign of something more, or just nature playing tricks on us? Julius scoffs anytime we bring this up, but Aaron insists there's something going on. But what do you guys think? Back in 2018 in the UK, someone captured footage of strange pinkish orbs floating in the night sky. These mysterious lights drifted away, leaving onlookers baffled and intrigued. Then in 2021, the same glowing orbs were seen again, this time in Spain, prompting even more speculation. These orbs can't be fireflies, as they're much larger and higher up in the sky. Witnesses described them as eerily beautiful and otherworldly. I know that sounds conflicting, but that's the same vibe I get watching them. The reappearance of these orbs in different locations years apart raises many questions. There's some form of advanced technology, natural phenomenon we don't yet understand, or perhaps something even more extraordinary. I have my thoughts, but share yours on the subject. Can someone explain to me what in the aquatic world could be going on here? A pet fish owner went to drain the water out of the fish tank while the fish was inside. As he opened the valve for the water to drain out, something bizarre happened. The water started going down, but the fish remained at the top of the tank swimming in the air. When I saw this, it looked very trippy. I mean, this is not possible. It's as if the fish is defying the laws of physics. Could this be some kind of optical illusion or trick? Maybe there's an invisible layer of water that's keeping the fish suspended, but that doesn't make any sense either. Or could it be some clever video editing trick that's making it look like the fish is floating in midair? Whatever the explanation, it's definitely one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. This was the original thing I wrote until Julius came out of nowhere, looked at the clip, laughed, and said double tank. If anyone understands what's going on or what he said, please explain in the comments section.
Get closer to it.
A man was driving out of a parking lot when he noticed something unusual in the sky. Intrigued, he parked his car and zoomed in with his camera. There it was, a UFO hovering in the sky. Unlike the animated footage we're used to seeing, this one looked like the real deal. The object wasn't moving very fast and it was drifting slowly across the sky. The slow and steady movement of the UFO made the sighting even more compelling. This isn't a quick flash or a blurry speck, it's clear and deliberate. Could this be genuine evidence of extraterrestrial activity?
Allá anda atrás del árbol un ovni. Lo miramos y se anda escondiendo y ahí anda jugando atrás del árbol. Mira. Oye, va para arriba. Ay, papá. Ya subimos de la lámpara, ya subimos de la lámpara.
This footage, taken in Mexico back in 2015, captures a curious and unexplained sighting. A group of men were hanging out at night when they noticed something unusual in the sky. Intrigued, they zoomed in on the glowing object, and what they found left them puzzled. The object was unlike any regular UFO or drone they had ever seen. It appeared to be a rock-like structure, but it didn't have a defined shape. Instead, it was irregular and oddly shiny, casting an eerie glow as it hovered in the night sky. The object's appearance was far from what one might expect from a typical aircraft or drone, adding to the mystery. What are we really looking at here? Could it be some unknown technology, or perhaps a natural phenomena that's yet to be explained? Share your thoughts. A woman walked up to her sink to wash her hands, and what she encountered was simply startling. There, nestled in the sink, was an animal with its eyes peeking out. At first glance, it looked like it could be a snake or a frog. Given that sinks are connected to sewers where all sorts of creatures lurk, this mysterious visitor could be anything. Imagine the surprise and unease of finding an unexpected guest emerging from the plumbing. The sewers are home to a wide array of animals, from frogs to snakes and even rats. Our plumbing is usually engineered in a way to prevent these things from making their way to the pipes, but there are times when we are surprised, like Our Lady in the clip. What do you think what she encountered could be? A harmless frog seeking refuge, or something more sinister lurking in the depths of the sewer system? Share your thoughts and theories. At Logan Canyon in Utah, some people captured footage of what they believed might be a Bigfoot. The creature appeared dark, probably due to its fur, and was both huge and muscular. To validate their claim, they made another recording from the same distance and location, this time featuring a 6-foot-tall man weighing about 220 pounds. When comparing both footage, it was evident that the creature was significantly larger and taller than the man. The footage has stirred quite a bit of excitement among Bigfoot enthusiasts and researchers. The creature's massive build and the fluidity of its movements seem to surpass what one might expect from a person in a costume. Moreover, the environment of Logan Canyon with its dense forests and remote areas is often cited as ideal Bigfoot territory. It's quite fascinating to see how close we might be to uncovering the existence of these elusive creatures. The debate about Bigfoot's existence has been ongoing for decades, and footage like this adds fuel to the fire. Skeptics, however, might argue it's a hoax or a misidentification, while believers see it as more evidence of Bigfoot's reality. What are your thoughts on the footage, Bigfoot or not? What do you think is happening here? When I first saw this, I shouted, "Demon possession." But I decided to calmly watch the clip, and I don't know. But I felt this overwhelming feeling of sadness. I had to change my script a couple of times for this one. I took a break and decided to do some research and found out why. This could actually be an individual experiencing Tourette Syndrome. For those unfamiliar, Tourette Syndrome is a neurological disorder characterized by the presence of repetitive, involuntary movements and vocalizations known as tics. These tics can be motor, such as blinking or head jerking, or vocal, such as grunting or throat clearing. The onset of Tourette's typically occurs in childhood, with symptoms often appearing between the ages of 5 and 10. While the exact cause is not fully understood, it's believed to involve a combination of genetic and environmental factors. The severity and type of tics can vary greatly among individuals, but while there is no cure, treatments including behavioral therapy, medication, and supportive therapies can help manage symptoms and improve quality of life. If that's what the person in the clip is experiencing, it's sad. Perhaps that's why I felt sad watching it. What do you guys think? This image was taken by Miria Meyer, an American anthropologist and primatologist. Because of her job, she was out in the woods, and the image is actually a screenshot from a video she recorded. According to her, while she was out in the woods, she felt eyes on her, but couldn't make out what it was. Later, while going through the clips she had recorded, she discovered that there was actually a creature hidden among a pile of dried leaves. It appeared to be an ape-like being, just staring straight at her. Crypted enthusiasts believe this could be evidence of a Sasquatch lurking in the area. The creature's dark, shadowy figure blends almost seamlessly with the forest floor, making it hard to spot unless you know where to look. Maria's expertise and the detailed context of the situation lend credibility to this sighting. Could it be that she stumbled upon one of the most elusive cryptids in existence, or is she just seeing things? Have you ever heard of a creature that haunts pregnant women? I came across this chilling story recently, and honestly, it's something straight out of a nightmare. This woman, who is currently pregnant, started hearing strange noises outside her house in the middle of the night. Concerned, she decided to set up a camera and record herself to see if she could figure out what was going on. The footage she captured is deeply unsettling. In this clip, she's suddenly woken up by a disturbing sound coming from outside. The noises are a mix of low animalistic growls, followed by eerie screeching and even howling that doesn't quite sound like any animal she's familiar with. The woman never dared to step outside. Instead, she stayed indoors waiting for the noises to stop. Now here's where it gets even creepier. Some believe these sounds are made by a malevolent creature, once said to mimic noises in order to lure pregnant women out of their homes. The legend goes that it preys on them, harming both the woman and her unborn child. Have you ever heard of such a creature, or has anyone actually encountered something like this?
Nah, ngiro na.
Mira. Toma, te soltar, culiao. ¿Ah? Hey. Mira si sola, mira si por acá, weón. Huh?
Two friends were out one night biking through the woods. Both had helmets with GoPro cameras to record their ride. Everything seemed normal until the man riding in the back captured something unsettling. As they rode along the trail, his camera picked up the figure of a person standing quietly by the side of the road. He didn't think much of it at first, casually saying hi to her as he passed. But the moment he went by, something changed. Without fully understanding why, he suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of fear. He then called out to his friend ahead, telling him how unsettled he was about the encounter. They both agreed it was unusual for someone, talk less, a young lady to be out in the woods at the same time. Sure, it could just be a random woman out in a trail just like them, but the timing, the stillness, and the immediate wave of fear after the encounter made it hard to not wonder if there wasn't more to it. Could this have been a ghostly encounter, or was it simply an eerie coincidence?
Mira. Toma, te soltar, culiao. ¿Ah? Hey. Mira si sola, mira si por acá, weón. ¿Ah?
An observer shared this unsettling footage, though they did not reveal the location. In the video, you can see the body of water, but instead of its usual clear appearance, the water is a deep red, almost like blood. This has caused a lot of alarm, especially amongst those who lean towards supernatural explanations. Many see it as a bad omen, particularly in religious circles. However, there could be a more grounded explanation. Pollution, for example, can sometimes lead to the formation of certain algae that cause water to take on a red hue, a phenomenon known as red tide. But still, the eerie nature of this sight leaves room for other interpretations. Could it be an omen after all? What do you believe is behind this strange occurrence? Tik Tok dance challenges are all fun and games until it seems like something or someone else wants in on the action. This guy was recording himself following one of the trending TikTok dance challenges, fully concentrated on nailing the moves. After finishing, he decided to go back and review the footage to make sure everything looked right, but what he found was far from what he expected. In the video, just behind him at the top of the staircase, a pale head appeared and then vanished. What was even more alarming was that he was home alone. No one else was in the house, and there weren't even any pets around. According to him, his house had never had any paranormal activity before, no strange happenings, no ghostly encounters, nothing. So what did he catch on camera? Could it be an uninvited guest from the other side? A woman recently shared some strange and mesmerizing footage online, and it's left people baffled. Take a look.
Este es el cielo, ahora mismo aquí en California. Nunca había visto yo un cielo igual.
In the video, the sky is entirely covered in thick, vibrant pink clouds. The color isn't subtle, it's intense, as if the clouds were. The woman who posted the footage seemed just as stunned, asking viewers if anyone could explain what was happening. No one seems to know if it was a natural phenomenon, weather condition, pollution, or even something more mysterious. We shared a similar clip recently, and to have it come up again so soon has got us wondering, is this a new norm? Have you ever seen anything like this before? What do you think could explain such a bizarre and beautiful scene?
Este es el cielo ahora mismo aquí en Paimorta. Nunca había visto yo un cielo igual. And nobody's saying.
Those are the angels.
This footage comes from San Diego. There are two separate clips that depict an unusual phenomenon in the sky. The first clip shows four bright lights moving independently, almost like small comets, but instead of falling, as you'd expect with meteors, they hover and glide across the sky. One woman says that they are angels. The second clip is another perspective, showing the same four lights emerging from the sky, possibly prior to the events of the first clip. Many are inclined toward the spiritual in support of the woman's assertion that they're angels. On the other hand, skeptics suggest these lights could be drones, flares, or a yet unknown natural phenomenon. What do you think?
Sarah, get out here!
The person who shared this footage believes it's a UFO sending some kind of signal in the sky. Now in the footage, there's a bright light hovering and moving through the sky, leaving behind a white trail that seems to form a pattern. As you watch closely, the light creates a perfect circle in the sky, and the moment the circle is completed, the light suddenly darts off, disappearing from view. What could this mean? It's definitely mysterious. Some speculate that the circle could be a form of communication, like a signal or marker from a craft. Others think it might just be a plane, drone, or other man-made object performing maneuvers. However, the way it draws a precise circle before quickly flying off does give it an eerie, calculated feel, fueling UFO theories. What do you think? Appalachian Mountains, which are famous for their strange and eerie encounters, and this one certainly adds to the mystery. In this footage, the man captures a strange light appearing on the ground, not in the sky but in the grass of his backyard, which is bordered by thick woods. The light is unusual because it flickers and then vanishes. The fact that it's on the ground and not coming from a known source like a house or a vehicle makes it even more eerie. The Appalachian region has a long history of ghostly sightings, unexplained lights, and mysterious sounds coming from deep within the forests. Could this be from some kind of entity? Lights like this have often been associated with paranormal phenomena, from spirits to UFOs, or even folklore creatures like will-o'-the-wisps, which are said to lead people astray in the woods of the strange puzzle. Imagine coming home to see this in your home. That's the exact situation of the family you see in the clip. I don't know what this is, but it appears to have left the family in a real dilemma. What would you have done in their shoes? We don't see the end of the situation, but can any of you tell us what animal this is? A woman was looking out of her window one day when something unusual caught her eye. Glancing down at the apartment below hers, she noticed a bag sitting by the window. At first, it didn't seem like anything out of the ordinary, but curiosity got the better of her. She decided to zoom in with a camera, and what she captured was truly unsettling. Inside the bag, poking out just enough to be visible, was a doll. Its eyes were staring directly at her. Its gaze felt deliberate, as though it were unaware of her being watched. The sight was unnerving, to say the least. A doll in a bag by a window might seem harmless at first glance, but something about its positioning gives it a deeply creepy vibe. What do you think? Next, I came across this trippy image, and it's been causing quite the debate online. Some people are saying it's a baby, while others are convinced it's a dog. It's one of those pictures that messes with your perception, and people have even started drawing sketches based on what they think it is. Some drew a baby, while others drew a dog. It's an optical illusion where your mind might switch between different interpretations depending on how you look at it. So what do you see when you look at it? A baby or a dog? A TikTok user shared a strange and unsettling video captured by the Ring camera on their front door. The footage shows a very tall figure, completely covered in what looks like a black cloth or a blanket, moving around the front porch. The figure is so shrouded that you can't see its face or body at first. But then, as the figure shifts, the cloth slips a bit, revealing something disturbing. A bald head with large eyes. The eyes are strange, almost reptilian. What makes it even more bizarre is how the eyelids move. One eyelid blinks up and down, but there's another movement, a second eyelid that blinks sideways, which is definitely not something you see in humans. According to the user's account, the creature was massive, standing taller than the doorframe, which was about 8 feet. Its height and appearance gave off an undeniably alien-like vibe. While the figure didn't try to enter the house, the encounter left people divided. Some believe this was an extraterrestrial being lurking outside the user's home, while others argue that it could be an elaborate prank using AI or even advanced special effects. What do you think? Moving on, it's no secret that the world we live in is more complex than it appears on the surface. It's believed that there are wealthy and influential individuals who manipulate events behind the scenes.
Homeless people off the streets, put them in there, take them to one of these special hospitals. They take them from that hospital, may have them drugged up, take them on these large estates of property. That's hunt.
Disturbing allegations have surfaced over the years about horrifying practices said to involve these elites. In an interview with Joe Rogan, Mike Tyson revealed some of these chilling claims. According to him, homeless people are being abducted off the streets, taken to mansions, and hunted for sport. Yes, you heard that right, hunted like animals. But Tyson's claims are not isolated. On an episode of Dr. Phil, a woman who identifies herself as a survivor of human trafficking recounted her own harrowing experiences. She claimed she had also been hunted for sport by some of the most high-profile individuals. Most of them were celebrities, athletes, and even influential public figures. According to her, these horrific acts are carried out in secret, with victims chosen from the most vulnerable corners of society. And then there's the recent legal battle involving Diddy. While the case itself doesn't directly involve human hunting, it has sparked renewed scrutiny of the activities of the global elite. Allegations of abuse, exploitation, and even more sinister acts are surfacing. These accusations, as shocking as they are, beg the question: how deep does this go? Are these just conspiracy theories, or is there a horrifying truth?
They would buy us just to hunt us. Some laid traps for us, and others would track us down like animals.
Yo, I've never seen nothing like that.
In this next footage, I'm not exactly sure where it was taken, but the scene is intriguing and unsettling. It's nighttime, and a woman is standing by the roadside. The surroundings are dimly lit with only the occasional glow of passing headlights, but something extraordinary happens that draws everyone's attention. The horizon is illuminated by a bright, vivid blue light. There are other people standing nearby. They're all transfixed, staring at the light with an almost hypnotic focus. No one seems to know what's happening. This doesn't look natural. It feels more like a freak event. Am I overthinking things, or are we really dealing with something else entirely? Something beyond our understanding?
Yo, I've never seen nothing like that.
A man was casually walking by a shrine, admiring the different statues displayed, when something eerie caught his eye. Among the statues, there was one in particular, this blue one that seemed off. At first glance, it appeared to be just another old stone statue, likely worn by time. But then, as the man moved around it, he noticed something disturbing. The statue's pupils were moving. Yes, the eyes seemed to be following him, tracking his every move as he walked around, even he went behind it. It was as if this inanimate object had somehow come to life, watching him, focused on him in the most unsettling way. This was no modern statue with high-tech features or senses. It was clearly an ancient piece crafted long ago, with no apparent mechanism that could explain the movement of its eyes. Yet they were those cold stone pupils, eerily following him, creating a chilling sensation. Can anyone explain this? A woman had a chilling experience in her new home one night. She woke up to the unsettling sight of a tote bag that was hanging on a door handle, swaying back and forth. That alone is strange, but things took a creepier turn. Books from her shelf by the door started to fall one after the other. The bag continued to swing, and more books tumbled, which scared her. Just when she thought it couldn't get any weirder, the bag stopped swinging and she felt a sense of calm. Until something else happened. Suddenly, a bright light started flashing outside her door. It flickered for a while, adding to the eerie vibe until the footage abruptly ended. Now, you know what I always say about moving into a new place. Do your research. This house seems to have something very unusual going on. Could it be haunted? It sure looks that way to me. What do you think? Does this feel like more than just a coincidence?
Yeah, it's right up there. You see it? Yeah, it's above the rock. Yeah. Oh my God!
The man behind this footage claims to have captured a UFO encounter in the sky, and honestly, you'll want to see this for yourself. In the video, there are two strange crafts hovering in the distance. They're small, indicating that they're likely very far away. For a while, the craft remains stationary, but then something unexpected happens. Toward the end of the footage, the two crafts suddenly flash brightly and appear to explode in the sky. The explosion isn't massive, likely because of the distance, and, interestingly, there's no sound accompanying it. This has left people debating, could this really be a UFO incident, or is it something else entirely? Perhaps advanced drones, a military experiment, or even a staged hoax? What do you think?
Yeah, it's right up there. You see it? Yeah, it's above the rock. Yeah. Oh my God!
Ya ves, estaba parpadeando. Mire.
A couple went grocery shopping and got the shock of their lives when they picked a sealed packet of spinach. Inside, they found a huge frog alive and nestled amongst the leaves. It's hard to imagine how something like this could happen, but did the frog even get into the packaging without anyone noticing? Surely someone along the production line or at the store should have caught this. This incident is a strong reminder. Always thoroughly check your food before buying it.
Ya ves, estaba parpadeando. Mire.
Look at this magnificent sunset. It's absolutely breathtaking. The warm hues of orange and pink paint the sky as the sun descends toward the horizon. But if you pay attention, there's something quite strange. While the sun is glowing brilliantly in the sky, casting its final rays of light, there's this dark line stretching across the sky, almost like a shadow. It extends from the sun itself and runs all the way to the back. It shouldn't be there. How is it possible for the sun, the source of all light, to be casting such a shadow? A dog owner and a partner shared an emotional experience during a visit to her partner's late father's residence one evening. As they stood in front of the house with their cute little dog, something truly heartwarming and unusual occurred. The dog began to leap in the air as though it was playing with someone they couldn't see. You know how dogs sometimes lift their front legs and tap on your legs when they're excited to see you? That's exactly what this dog was doing, but no one was there. Seeing this, the couple became emotional. The timing felt significant since the father had passed away a year earlier and his memorial was coming up soon. They firmly believed that the dog was seeing the spirit of their late father, who had come to greet them outside the house. It seemed to them that the dog recognized his presence even though they couldn't see him. Every country has unique cultures and traditions that might seem bizarre to an outsider. Here's one that might leave you feeling a little squeamish. In this footage, a man is seen shaking large trays and hundreds of cockroaches come tumbling down to the floor. Tray after tray, he continues the process until the ground is crawling with these insects. Now, before you react with horror, let me explain what's going on. This man isn't just casually collecting cockroaches for any reason, he's actually harvesting them. Yeah, you heard that right. These cockroaches are bred intentionally and hold significant value in traditional Chinese medicine. They're processed and used in treatments for various ailments, from stomach issues to skin problems. Some even say that cockroach extract is used in modern medical products for healing wounds and tissue repair. While it may seem shocking or even revolting to many of us, for those within this culture, cockroach farming is a serious business. In fact, it's so lucrative that some farmers have made it their primary livelihood, and the demand continues to grow. What do you think about this practice? Could you ever see yourself embracing something like this if it were part of your culture? This next one is a sad one. The man you see on this clip got a message on his phone about an unknown voice coming from one of the rooms. He then heads there to see what's going on, and it sounds like the voice of a little girl. Why is this heartbreaking, you ask? Well, it's simple. He lost his daughter some months earlier due to a short illness. Could this be the spirit of his daughter calling out to him? Or is there a demonic spirit making fun of him? Let's hear your thoughts. Here's another strange encounter that left a woman rattled in the middle of the night. She was suddenly woken up by the sound of a man screaming outside her apartment complex. Naturally, she got up and looked out of her window to investigate. Outside, in the park below, she saw a figure, presumably the man she heard, standing unnaturally still. It was late at night. The person was standing straight, his arms stiffly by his sides, and the creepiest part is he seemed to be facing directly at her apartment. While she was focused on this eerie figure, something else happened. She heard a noise coming from inside her closet. Startled, she opened it, and an object immediately fell out. Well, that was enough for her. She bolted from the apartment, grabbed the keys, and headed outside. I know you're thinking, why is she going outside? Now here's where things get even weirder. When she pans the camera back toward her room from outside, you can see a figure moving inside. Someone else walking down her stairs. What could this be? Was this just two strange events happening at the same time? Or are we looking at some sort of entity? It's hard to say, but the combination of the man outside and the figure inside is beyond chilling. What do you think is going on here? Could these two events be connected? This photo was taken by a group of friends on a hike in Chile. Like anyone would, they gathered together, smiling and enjoying the moment for a group photograph. Everyone seemed happy, but when they got back and started sharing the photo, they noticed something unsettling. Take a close look at the space between the two women on the left. In that small gap between their heads, what is that? When they enhanced the photo to get a closer look, they were shocked by what they saw. A strange face peeking through the tiny space. This eerie face left everyone in disbelief. What could it be? Is there some mysterious figure in the background? Something paranormal?
Tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo.
Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. Mira, 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 mira.
La tentación, líbranos y guárdanos de todo mal. Amén. Mira.
Mira, no mames. ¿Qué pedo?
A couple got home one night from a late night hike to find this on their car. A strange-looking woman sitting right on the hood of their vehicle. She was holding a white cloth, cradling it in her hands like it was a baby. The woman herself did not look normal. Her face was grotesque, with dark, uneven skin that seemed almost decayed. Her hair was a tangled mess, falling limp over her head. Her attire was a tattered black robe. It looked like it had seen centuries of wear. The scared couple began to pray, hoping it would ward off whatever they were witnessing, but their prayers didn't seem to have much effect. The woman shifted her position slightly, still perched on the hood, her dark, soulless eyes scanning the area. What could this be? A ghostly apparition, a witch, or something entirely beyond explanation?
Tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. Mira, 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 mira.
La tentación, líbranos y guárdanos de todo mal. Amén. Mira.
Mira, no mames. ¿Qué pedo?
A man went hiking with his son up a mountain, enjoying the serene beauty of nature, but on their way down, something truly nerve-wracking happened. The man holding a camera was filming his son as he carefully descended the rocky path. That's when the unexpected visitor appeared, a large bear quietly trailing behind the boy. The bear didn't appear aggressive, it was more curious than anything else. It moved cautiously, keeping its eyes on the boy, who showed incredible bravery and composure. Instead of panicking or running, the boy calmly and steadily continued his descent. Bears are massive, powerful, and undeniably dangerous. Most people would have bolted in fear, but they can trigger a predatory chase instinct. This boy's composure likely saved him from a much worse situation. So what about you? Would you have been able to stay as calm as this boy in such a moment? In this footage, a man is standing by the riverbank, and while the water appears calm, there are strange ripples forming at the edge. The rest of the water looks undisturbed, which makes the ripples even more mysterious. The ripples could be caused by something moving just beneath the surface, maybe a fish, some other aquatic creature, or even an unseen underwater current. However, the fact that only the edge of the water is affected raises questions. It could also suggest something lurking just out of sight, slowly disturbing the water. Humans can definitely be weird and unpredictable, but this scene is on another level. Take a look at this and tell me what's going on here. You've got a group of people standing by the side of a path, all facing the trees, and they're just standing there, doing absolutely nothing. To add to the strange vibe, there's another man on the opposite side also standing still and facing the trees. No movement, no interaction, just eerie stillness. It almost feels like a glitch in reality, like these people are NPCs, non-playing characters, in a video game, frozen or going through some bizarre script. Could this be some odd coordinated behavior, NPCs, or just really weird people doing weird things for absolutely no reason? This strange video was captured in June 2024. It shows something truly strange and unexplainable. A woman whose backyard opens up to a dense woodland area, recording an eerie sight that has left many wondering about its origin. From deep within the woods, a mysterious light could be seen flashing among the trees. Unlike the usual flicker of flames from a fire, this light glowed a peculiar orange hue. What made it even more unsettling was its shape. It appeared as a half-arc. Not to sound like the science nerd, but these are the kinds of faces and heads you'd expect with high-tech mechs. There's also the possibility of it being a UFO. I mean, look at it. The individual recording refused to get closer and went indoors after recording this. If we are being sincere, I understand them, but what do you think? Could this be evidence of something extraordinary like a UFO crash landing in the woods? Or is there a more down-to-earth explanation for this, like a malfunctioning power line or some heavy-duty equipment? Let's hear your thoughts.
Se quedó quieto, no se mueve. En un solo punto. ¿Será un ovni?
A resident in Concordia shared some intriguing footage online. The video shows a disc-shaped UFO hovering in the sky. What's strange is that it wasn't moving at all, it just hung there completely static. The sighting has sparked a wave of speculation. Some believe it's undeniable proof of extraterrestrial life, while others argue it could be seen as some sort of advanced military technology. Of course, skeptics claim it might just be a cleverly executed hoax or drone with unusual modifications. What do you think it is?
Se quedó quieto, no se mueve. En un solo punto. ¿Será un ovni?
This was recorded and sent in by a driver who noticed something very unusual. From the clip, we can tell the person is driving home during a cloudy sunset. It wasn't too dark, but all of a sudden, a bright orb appears in the sky. From this orb, what looked like the shadow of an angel began to emerge. The figure had wings, arms outstretched, and the wings seemed to flap behind it as it floated in the sky. This was captured by the car's dash cam, but the exact location remains unknown. What do you make of this? Was it a natural phenomenon playing tricks on the eye, or could it be something more mysterious, an angelic sign perhaps? A man shared some truly strange footage online that left everyone scratching their heads. He was by a lake when something bizarre started happening. Water began gushing out of the lake, almost like a fountain. But here's the eerie part. There was no mechanism controlling it, no fountain set up, nothing that should have caused the water to spout like that. Even weirder, the gushing water didn't just stay in one spot. It moved across the lake's surface as though it had a life of its own. The footage was unsettling, leaving viewers wondering what could possibly cause such a phenomenon. Is this some rare natural occurrence? Could there be an underground geyser at work? What are your thoughts? One of the most dangerous creatures in the sea is, without a doubt, the shark. Now imagine you're deep underwater when suddenly a shark emerges from behind you. This exact scenario happened to a diver who was swimming in the deep sea. Out of nowhere, a shark approached him and, with its powerful jaws, grabbed onto the diver's oxygen tank. It even shook him slightly, almost as if testing its grip. At this point, you'd expect the worst, but surprisingly, the shark released him and swam away, almost like he was playing a prank on the diver. This man must have been shaken to his core, but he's incredibly lucky. Imagine having a close encounter like this and living to tell the tale. Definitely want to share with his kids someday.
Is there more than one of you here? Can you give us an initial? Can you give us your name? Can you give us anything?
I recently came across a paranormal channel on YouTube called Mind Seed TV. They mostly share a lot of paranormal content, visiting haunted locations and even using Ouija boards to communicate with spirits. On one particular adventure, they decided to camp out in the woods near a river, and while using the Ouija board, they asked whatever entity was out there to give them a sign. But instead of the planchette moving, they heard a noise coming from the river instead. But when they turned to look, they immediately ran for their lives. But why did they run? Well, this is why. Something was coming out of the water. It was a woman, drenched in wet white clothing, with a black hair plastered to her face. They didn't stick around to see what she was, though she was mostly hidden in the darkness. You can still make out some of her features, and whatever she was, well, she wasn't human. It seems these men might have awakened some kind of spirit from the river. One spirit being comes to mind when I see clips like this, La Llorona. Whatever it was, they made the right decision to run.
Can you give us an initial? Can you give us your name? Can you give us anything?
And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured and either we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Share this with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.